Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. Today we have Roger Markham from Artsil Technologies, and he's going to share with us some dynamics around process and automation and an overview of their platform. And with that, I'll hand it over to Roger.
Okay, thank you very much, Selena, and thank you once again, everybody, for attending the webcast today. Just a little bit about Artsil before we get going. We are a Level 2 Acumatica ISV, and we are a publisher of an intelligent process automation platform. It is a mature platform, and we serve customers globally. And if you may not have heard of us by name, we are embedded in many ISVs and other solutions that are out there as we sell exclusively with partners. And one of the things we're going to focus on today is our action solutions for rapid implementations around invoice processing and sales orders, which are now available through the Strategies Group and fulfilled by Acumatica. So if you look at what our overall goal is, if I jump to the end, what we're aiming to do is help you spend more time working on your business and less time working in it by eliminating a lot of the manual error-prone steps relative to document handling, all the things that have to take place before document-based data can get into Acumatica, which will increase the data accuracy of the data that's in Acumatica and also increase overall productivity in your organization. So we all know that automation is everywhere, right? It's a market requirement these days to keep your business operating in the fast lane. And one of the reasons why people seek automation today, and here's some market data based on a survey and a report that came out, is that many companies feel it's a competitive requirement, and it's directly tied to avoiding commercial failure, meaning that if you're not competitive and you're not serving your customers in a marketplace where it's all about customer experience and how responsive you are, that's not going to be good in the long term for your business. And what's very important is to control escalating internal operational costs. And the top three automation technologies that companies are looking at is really intelligent document capture, robotic process automation, and machine learning, which we're going to be going over throughout this presentation. And as you can see here, the productivity gains that companies realize with automation is very significant. Cost per document for processing drops significantly, and so does the productivity of workers. They can handle more volume with the same amount of workers without having to have variable staffing requirements. And the amount of time that it takes and the amount of errors that are produced through manual processes is significantly reduced. But even with that, today, many businesses still process documents manually. Now, why do they do that? Well, they do that because documents come into companies from many different sources, right? And there's many different document types. And within the documents, it has variable data. The data is not always in the same spot in the document. And there's different rules based on what kind of document it is, what kind of supplier or customer it came from. And what does that cause? It causes delays, delays, delays. So due to the fact that there's many variables, multiple people are required to manage and process the documents. That's why we help to turn a manual process like this with many touch points, many points of failure, into an automated process like this, which is a unified workforce of automation and people, putting together the right automation at the right spot and involving the appropriate people at the appropriate time to make this process as efficient and as accurate as possible. So let's look at the IPA bot platform that we offer. It's really a collective of bots that have specific tasks, and they do not require coding. And they utilize, digital transformation technologies that are appropriate for document-based processing, such as OCR, ICR, cognitive services, artificial intelligence, machine language, and iPaaS for getting data into different business platforms. So you put these all together and you have a platform that can be applied for a number of different business processes that you might have. Now, what I want to do is just take a second to, talk about the different types of automation that you see or you hear about or read about. So one is, automation, right? You have a process that needs to be repeated over and over again. It has a specific purpose. It's very repetitive. There's no variables, no decisions to be made. If anything changes, it breaks. And then you hear a lot about robotic process automation, which is great for moving data from one known location to another known location. It can be used for multiple purposes, and it's very helpful in high volume, repetitive situations where, again, there may not be variables or decisions to be made. What we're talking about is intelligent process automation, where, different types of documents come in. We have to decide who they're from, what kind of document it is, and assign the right process, and involve, validation of the data against the Acumatica database. Maybe an external process is involved, and then the appropriate people who either have to approve or address exceptions get involved at the right time before it's entered into an ERP. So that is what intelligent process automation is all about. And that's what we provide with our intelligent process automation platform. So when we get back to this, if you took this platform out of the box, or any platform that you're applying to your business, there are a number of things you would have to do, right? You might have to, tell it about what kind of documents you want to use. You would have to do some programming around getting the right data. You would have to define how you want it and where you want it validated, and a number of different things that, will get the platform to do what you want it to do. Sometimes that's very time consuming and costly, unless you don't have to. What we have done is we've taken the platform, and for some specific processes, we pre-programmed it into what we call action solutions or action bots, meaning that when you get it, it's already pre-configured with system components, the right automation bots. We know about what data to extract around invoices and orders. We know how to validate the rules. You just got to tell us where the databases are. And we provide things like user clients and connectors to Acumatica and things like that, all in one package. So what does that mean? That means you have rapid implementations, meaning that we can get your users up and running. We don't have to program or train a system. We don't have to do a lot of coding, which, basically can reduce your project costs overall. So you heard me say process-specific intelligence. So what the heck is that? As I was saying, as an example, with an invoice, let's say, there's specific information and a specific process that you want it to follow when you process the document. So out of the box, when you install Invoice Action, we already have pre-programmed the information that you need off of an invoice. We know what it is from many, many years of experience, and what rules are going to have to be applied to validate that data, and what process it has to go through before it can be entered into an ERP. But sometimes, you want it to do something different. So the good thing is that based on this platform and as a basis, it's very easily to extend it to do the things you wanted to do. Maybe it's different data that you want extracted. Maybe it's another rule you want applied. That can be done very easily on the back of the platform that we installed initially. So let's take a look. Let's say somebody sends you an email with a PDF attachment that has 3 invoices, very common. If you were to look into our system, you would see that we already processed the PDF. We imported it from an email server, we detached it, we split the invoices up, classified it, and validated the data. And one of the invoices we sent directly into Acumatica, and the other two need some attention. So what happened was we took the document and we transformed the data. And then we decided what kind of document it was and who it was from, because each supplier customer may have different rules. We applied the appropriate process and we applied the appropriate rules. Then we would extract the appropriate data from either the order or the invoice. And out of the box, our generic extraction rate is pretty high. So if we did not get something that we needed to get, you'll see how we're going to use machine learning to get the information that may or may not have been missed. After that, we validate the data against Acumatica databases. We look up things for invoices, let's say if we got the right PO, is it a duplicate? Did we already pay it? Or maybe we're going to apply GL coding. Same thing with order action. We'll go into the sales database, the pricing master, and the supply chain to make sure that it matches everything that was on either the sales quote, the item is available, what is the credit status of the customer, are there any alerts that need attention? So if you would go into Acumatica and go into bills and adjustments, you would see that the one that went straight through is already there. However, there was two that needed some kind of attention or verification. So depending if it was somebody that needed to verify the data that was extracted or validated, or a business rule was not followed, or as approver, that person would get an email saying, hey, there's action to be taken, so that they're aware that they need to go in and perform that action so that that data can become available in Acumatica. So as an example, verification. Here's what a verifier would see. Here's an invoice that needs some attention. And by the time they open this up, we already looked by vendor and see if there was any machine knowledge that we have learned in the past from processing this type of invoice from them. And we applied that. And also we verified the line item data and the rules, and we took all the information that's in the Acumatica database and updated maybe some of the information that we extracted from the document. So if we had to go in and make some adjustments, this is showing how we use click capture so that as a user is going around the document and identifying the correct data or adding data, our system is learning from what they're doing, and that goes into our machine knowledge database. So the next time this invoice comes through from that customer, we apply that and we minimize the amount of exceptions that need to be taken place on this particular invoice for this particular customer. So we also do that for line items. So machine learning can be applied to line item tables, as you may or may not have experience with, is somewhat challenging. But with our machine learning, what you can do is just have the user tell the system about the first line of a table. And after the first line of a table is learned, then it is applied to the rest of the line item table. And it will even go out and validate that data and add data that you said you wanted in addition to what's on invoices. For, let's say, we're going to validate how many we received by looking at delivery slips that came in, or let's say we're going to apply GL coding. Those things can be added automatically as we go through the validation process. What's the value of this? Well, when you add the two together, it's very easy for users to define new vendors or customers or update current ones very easily just by using that click capture that we looked at. So it shortens new vendor and new customer onboarding setups, and it really increases the accuracy and the reliability of the data that's ultimately going to reside in Acumatica. And as you apply this over time, it increases straight-through processing and minimizes user interventions. But getting back to the invoice that needs attention. So we have wizards that's going to take the user through some data we couldn't read or some rules that were violated. So in this case, it couldn't read the invoice number. So the user would just type in the right invoice number or correct a misinterpreted character that the system may be presenting. And as soon as they do that, they press confirm and the information is then corrected. A rules validation wizard would highlight a rule that was violated. So let's say in this case, the unit cost in the database the unit cost on the invoice does not match the unit cost that's in the database when we went out and validated. So the user has the opportunity to do some research, check some things, and make the appropriate information right there on the fly, apply it, finish, and all the rules have now been updated. You go back into Acumatica, you'll see that there are the 3 invoices that came in and the associated data that was extracted from the invoice. So also within Acumatica, you could, if you wanted to see the image of the invoice, you can go over to Files and click on that, and for any particular invoice, it'll present the original image of the invoice to you. So that's the experience that somebody within Acumatica would have, given all the prior steps that needed to take place before that information was there. So what we've created was a unified workforce, as we were saying earlier, where now as information is coming in, the automation process will automatically take all the different types of documents coming in from various locations and different file formats, extract that data, validate that data, get people involved when they need to be involved, and get that information into Acumatica as quickly as possible. So really, when you think about it, there are many steps in document-based process. We saw that earlier. And a lot of other solutions that are out there focus on particular portions of that. Some solutions are good with OCRing documents. Some are good with workflows. Some are good with validating rules. But, you know, with the Artsil platform, we are really an end-to-end automation platform. And when you apply this to any business process you have, your efficiency factor within your organization is significantly increased. And with the action solutions, invoice action and order action, we deliver a lot of high value business outcomes around cash management, the velocity of sales, your productivity. You know, for orders, you can reduce your days of sales outstanding. Customer satisfaction goes up, and the technical advantages around using end-to-end automation with these transformation technologies helps you to apply this to, as I said before, any business process that's document-based that you may have. So are you a good fit for this type of automation? Some things to think about, right? When you think automation, like I just said, think end-to-end. If you think platform, that means you can have automation everywhere, not just for one specific solution or point solution that you may be thinking about. You should get a platform that can be applied to many different types of processes that you have. And when you do this, don't automate a process to do exactly what you do today. I mean, what's the point of doing that? You want to take advantage of the technologies that are embedded in there to do more things than what you do today and to do it more efficiently. So think business outcomes, and when you think rapid implementations that you're looking for, think about the strategies group. How to get started? Contact the strategies group to arrange for a product tour and a demo. And we could even use your invoices or your order samples as we provide the product tour and the demo. Should we go forward together, you can participate with us in our rapid implementations where we can rapidly get the product installed, do training, make some customizations so that you can start spending more time working on your business and less time working in it. So I want to thank you for attending today's webcast, and hopefully you're thinking about going to the Acumatica Summit in Las Vegas this month, January 26th through the 31st. Hopefully we can see you there. So please stop by the Artzel booth and the Strategies Group booth, and we can have a further in-depth discussion about our action solutions. Selena?
Thank you, Roger, and thanks everyone for joining us. If you have any questions or want to learn more, you can contact us at those email addresses listed, and hopefully we see all of y'all at Summit.